Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Captain America statue from Captain America Civil War. This statue is not designed to be made alone, it is designed to be made with its counterpart, Iron Man. As you can see, both of these statues together paint a nice little scene. Here we have Iron Man on the right, floating in the air with his thrusters, firing a laser at Captain America, who is bracing himself, raising his shield as to defend himself against the laser. You can make both of these statues separately, but I would highly urge you to make them together because I do think it tells a very cool story. If you are seeing this video first, then it means that you can already make Iron Man. I will be leaving the link to his tutorial in both the card system and in the description below, so if you like, you can make Iron Man first, you can make Captain America first, it doesn't really matter which one you make first, and you can make both of them and you can enjoy this lovely scene that I have on the screen in front of you. But that's more than enough talking. Make one of them, make both of them, it doesn't matter. If you want to make Captain America, here's what you're going to need. You will need some white stained clay and some brown stained clay. Grab black stained clay and some cyan stained clay. Grab nether brick, some red wool, grab white wool, dark blue, cyan, and I do believe we will need some more stuff later on, but we'll just have to grab that as we need it. So once you have each one of these materials right here, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here. And do bear in mind that if you do plan on making both of them, make sure that they are facing each other and that you do actually have enough room for both of them. That's why I've already laid out where I'm going to be making Captain America. Now, once you have figured out where you're making him, you're going to want to start off Captain America with this sequence of blocks in a row on the floor. You want to do one black stained clay, two brown stained clay, one black stained clay, like this. Then, stacking directly on top of this row, you want to do a row of black stained clay. You then, for the next two rows, going from left to right, want to do one black stained clay, two brown, one black stained clay. And remember, that's for 2 rows, so do that once, do it again. Then, on top of that, do a row of black stained clay, followed by a row of dark blue wool. Then, you want to, on top of that, do a row of cyan wool. And in front of this row of cyan wool, going from left to right, do one dark blue, two cyan, one dark blue. On top of that row, do the exact same row. Do dark blue wool, 2 cyan, 1 dark blue. Then for the next row, do 1 cyan, 3 dark blue. For the next row, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue. Then for the next row, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 2 cyan. And for the next row, do 4 dark blue wool. And then, for the next row, do 3 brown stained clay, that's 1, 2, 3. Continuing to go right, I knew we'd need another colour here, guys. You want to grab, what can we get rid of for a little while? We don't need black stained clay for a little while, so get rid of black stained clay for a bit, and grab yourself some light grey wool. Going right of those 3 brown clay, we want to do 2 light grey, followed by 3 brown stained clay, and that is Captain America's belt. Now we're going to be building entirely on top of this belt area. So going from left to right for the next row, do 2 nether brick, 1 white wool, 2 red, 1 white, 2 nether brick. For the next 4 rows, do 1 nether brick, 1 red, 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 1 red, 1 nether brick. And remember, that's for 4 rows, so that's 1 row, isn't it? 2, 3, 4. And then we want to do that exact same row 3 more times, because of course we did it once. We then want to do the exact same thing 3 more times. Then for the next row, going from left to right, do 1 nether brick, then 2 cyan, 2 dark blue, then 2 cyan, 1 nether brick. Then for the next row, do 2 dark blue, 1 white wool, then 2 cyan, 1 white wool, 2 dark blue. Then for the next row, do 1 dark blue, 2 cyan, then 2 white wool, 2 cyan, 1 dark blue. Then for the next row, do 1 dark blue, 1 cyan, 4 white wool, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue. For the next row, do 1 dark blue, 2 cyan, 2 white wool, 2 cyan, 1 dark blue. And for the next row, do an entire row of dark blue wool. So you want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this. So this is Captain America's torso and his one leg at the moment. Don't worry, there is going to be more than one leg. Captain America isn't crippled, he does have more than one leg. So how are we going to deal with his other leg? Because one leg is kind of bent backwards as to kind of like brace himself against the blast, and his other leg is bent forwards as once again to brace himself from the blast. So his other leg is underneath this row of light grey wool and these brown clay. We want to, starting from underneath this light grey, we want to do 1 dark blue wool, 2 cyan, 1 dark blue. We then want to take this row and extend it towards us by 2. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you know what? We actually want to extend it towards us by 3. So that'll be an extra 1 on each one of those. Then the fourth row that we want to do in front of these 3 rows that we've just done, we want to do a row of dark blue wool. We then want to take each one of these bottom 2 corners of the knee and extend them down each by 1 with the dark blue. We then want to take each one of those dark blues and extend them down by 2 with the cyan. That's 1, 2, and that's 1, 2. We then want to extend the cyan down each by 3 with the dark blue. That's 1, 2, 3, and this will be 1, 2, and 3. We then want to connect those together. We then want to get rid of our light grey wool for a while and grab black stained clay. And we want to do a row of black stained clay underneath this row of dark blue. We then want to do 2 rows of brown stained clay coming down from the 2 center blocks. That's 1 and 2. And then we want to do black stained clay going all the way around that to form a black stained clay box. And then for the row that touches the ground going from left to right, we want to do a black stained clay, 2 brown clay, 1 black stained clay. So we want to have something which should look like this. And what we can also do is just fill the center of this leg in with cyan wool. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like that, which is pretty simple. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So we now obviously have to form the sides of the legs. So on each side of the leg, we want to have this. So this is on the outside part. We want to take this bottom side black stained clay and we want to extend it backwards by 3 with the black stained clay. That's 1, 2, 3. We then want to go up on top of this third block by 4 with the black stained clay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then up by 3 with the dark blue wool. That's 1, 2, 3. Do an upright diagonal. Then do 2 dark blue wool. That's 1, 2 coming towards the back of the statue. Then place a cyan wool. Then looking towards the front of the statue, back on what we've made, we want to go right of the cyan wool by 6 with the dark blue. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we want to do a cyan wool. And this will kind of form the back of the statue a little bit. I know it's kind of a weird shape, but it all makes sense once we've actually got these legs all nice and 3D. So what we now want to do is we kind of just want to like close the gap here between the torso that we have and the leg that we've just made. So we just want to do a row of cyan wool here, and we can just fill the outer part of this leg in. So the way that we're going to do this, we want to start from the bottom here. We want to add an additional layer of black stained clay, followed by 2 layers of brown stained clay. That's 1 and 2. Then an additional layer of black stained clay. Then a layer of blue wool. We then want to fill the rest of the leg in here with cyan wool. So we want to have this sort of shape here. And you can see that that's where the leg kind of cuts off. And then we want to come to the inside part of the leg and we want to kind of like have the same thing. So on the inside part of the leg, we want to take this bottom black stained clay, extend it back by 3, connect it to the back there. And then we want to take this back corner, we want to raise it up by 4 with the black stained clay. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we can connect it to the back part of the leg and then the front part of the leg. And then we can just fill in the bottom part of the boot here with brown stained clay, like this. Then we just want to add a layer of blue wool on top of the black stained clay. And then we want to add 2 dark blue wool in the back corner here. You can see that we're just emulating what we have everywhere else. And then we can just proceed to fill the rest of this in with cyan. So where you can see, you just have to fill it in with cyan. So you can see that's the inside part of the leg. This is the outer part of the leg. And you'll be able to see this back part of the leg as well. So you can just fill up to here in with cyan. And we'll also have to fill in like that under part as well a little bit, but that's in a second. So that's the leg complete. That's the leg, the harder leg to do, I think, the one that's poking out in front of the statue. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So you now want to come to the opposite side of the statue, and you can see here where we have like this cyan row behind this row of dark blue. Well, you want to take this cyan wool here, and you want to extend this back by 3 rows. So that'll be 1, 2, and 3 like this. You then want to go up by 1 row with your cyan, and that will connect to the like bottom part of Captain America's bottom. That's essentially what that is. That's the back part of Captain America's bottom right there. And what you can also do, just to reinforce this shape a little bit, can you see here we have like Captain America's belt? Well, take out your brown stained clay and take each ends of the belt and extend it back by 3 rows with your brown stained clay. That's 1, 2, 3. And then that'll be 1, 2, 3. And then connect each one of those third blocks together like this. What you can then do is building up on top of this back row of 8 like blue and cyan. Going from left to right for the next row, we want to do 1 cyan. Then 1 dark blue, 1 cyan, 2 dark blue, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan. And then for the next row, do 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 4 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan. Then for the next row, an entire row of dark blue wool. So we want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And then you can proceed to just fill like the side part of this shape that we've made in. You can fill the side part of this in with cyan wool. And you can also fill like the under part and like any part of the leg in here that you'd be able to see from the outside. You essentially just want to fill it in with cyan wool. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. Any part here where you'd be able to see it otherwise, you just want to fill it in with cyan wool. And you also want to have the same here on like on the opposite part of the leg here, where we have dark blue for the leg. You just want to connect that together at the top with the dark blue, and then you just want to cyan wool there. And you want to, you don't want to connect those 2 dark blues together. I just checked. You want to have cyan wool there as well. And then that's a leg, and you can see that that's all enclosed off. All we have to do now is we just have to do the bottom part of the leg here. And to do that, we want to come all the way down to the bottom of the leg, and we want to have a very similar shape to what we have there. You then want to take the bottom back 2 corners of this backwards leg and extend them back each by 3 with your black stained clay. That's 1, 2, 3. And that'll be 1, 2, 3. And you can connect them together back block to back block. So each one of those third blocks together, and that'll form this U shape. What you can then do is take each one of these 2 corners, raise them up by 4 of the black stained clay. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you can connect them together and also connect them to the front of the leg. And then you can add a layer of dark blue wool going all the way around the top of the rectangular shape that you've just made. And then you can fill the sides of the shape in with your brown stained clay. So you can just fill the sides of the shape in with brown stained clay. And that should form the boot in its entirety. So you can see that both of those boots are alike. We now have the leg that is out in front of the statue. We now have the leg that's out at the back of the statue, and that is pretty much the hardest part of this statue complete, the legs, because they're in really, really weird positions that you wouldn't usually see them in. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now build up the back of the statue and these sides a little bit more. So coming all the way to the back, and on top of this row of 8 brown stained clay that we have right here, going from left to right, this is what we want to do for the next 5 rows. Do 1 dark blue, then 6 cyan, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 dark blue. And remember, that's for 5 rows, so that'll be the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. And we want to have the same on the other side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can just add all of our cyan wool directly in between these to give us our 5 rows in total. We then, for the next row, want to, going from left to right, do 1 brown stained clay, then 6 cyan wool, then 1 brown stained clay. Then for the next row, do 3 brown stained clay, then 2 cyan, 3 brown stained clay. Then for the next row, do 1 dark blue, 1 cyan, then 1 brown stained clay, then 2 white wool, 1 brown stained clay, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue. Then for the next row, do 1 dark blue, then 2 cyan, then 2 white wool, 2 cyan, 1 dark blue. Then for the next row on top of this, we want to do 3 brown clay, followed by 2 cyan, then 3 brown clay. Then for the next row, do 2 brown, then 4 dark blue, then 2 brown. And that is pretty much the back of Captain America. As you can see, it's a little bit boring because he doesn't have his shield on his back, he just has his holster. That's what that is, that's what the brown stained clay is. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So we now just want to fill in the sides of our statue, and this is actually quite easy. So to fill in the sides, this is what you want to do. You can see that on the sides where we have our nether brick, well, you just want to fill in the sides with red wool. So you can see where you have nether brick on the front and dark blue wool and brown stained clay on the back. You want to fill these rows in with red wool as far up as you have nether brick. You can then fill the rest of the side in with 1 row of dark blue wool and then rows of cyan wool coming all the way up to the top. So that's how you fill in the side. It's rows of red wool coming all the way up as far as the nether brick itself, and then you want to do 1 row of dark blue wool and then cyan wool everywhere else. So you'll just want to have something that should look a little bit like that. And you can see, once again, it's a bit of a weird shape, isn't it? It's a difficult statue to make. Once you've got that taken care of, however, this is what we're going to do next. We're probably, yeah, let's do Captain America's head, then we can work on the hard bits again. So come all the way up to the top of Captain America's torso. You want to be right up on the front of it, and on top of this row of dark blue wool you want to stack a row of brown stained clay, and then in front of this row of brown stained clay stack another row of brown stained clay. Then going from left to right, in front of this row you want to do 2 brown stained clay, 1 white stained clay, 2 black, 1 white, 2 brown. Then for the next row on top of this, going from left to right, do 1 brown stained clay, 6 white stained clay, 1 brown stained clay. Then for the next row, do 1 cyan, 2 dark blue, 2 cyan, 2 dark blue, 1 cyan. Then for the next row, we actually need another colour, and a colour that we're not going to need for a very long time, if at all, is nether brick. So we can get rid of nether brick and we can grab ourselves some light blue wool. And for the next row, we want to do 1 cyan, 1 white, 1 light blue, 2 cyan, 1 light blue, 1 white wool, 1 cyan. Then for the next row, do 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 4 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan. And for the next row, do 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 white wool, 2 cyan, 1 white wool, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan. And as a matter of fact, once you've got that row taken care of, you can actually do the exact same thing to the row just above it. So you just want to do that to the 2 rows directly above that, or the 1 row directly above that, so you have 2 rows of that. And for the final row of the head, going from left to right, do 1 cyan wool, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan, 2 white wool, 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan. So you want to have something which should look like that, and that is perfect. That's exactly what you want to have. Now once you've got that taken care of, we now want to come round to the back of the head, and we want to take this first initial row of brown stained clay and extend it over the back of the head by 1 row, coming towards the back of the head, and then you want to do 4 rows of white stained clay coming back. So that'll be 1 row, this will be 2 rows, this will be 3 rows, and then this will be 4 rows of white stained clay. What we can now do is this. So for the next row, on top of this row of white stained clay, going from left to right, we want to do 1 cyan, 1 dark blue, 4 cyan, 1 dark blue, 1 cyan. Then we want to take up the dark blues and we want to raise them up until they are equal height with the front of the head, so they're equal height with the front of the head, and then we want to connect them to the front of the head as well. So we want to take those top dark blues and connect them to the front of the head like this. What we now want to do is move on to the side of the head here, and going right of these single cyan walls that we have on the side of the head, we want to go right this one, do 1 dark blue, then do 3 dark blue on top, that's 1, 2, 3. Then we want to, towards the front of the head, go right by 3 with the dark blue wall, that's 1, 2, 3. Then down by 1 with the dark blue. Then go down by 2 with the brown stained clay, that's 1 and 2. Then you want to do 2 brown stained clay going right, that's 1 and 2. Then 2 white stained clay going right, that's 1 and 2. You can then extend this brown stained clay to the left, coming towards the back of the skull by 2 with brown stained clay, and then fill this little space in here with white stained clay, and that's like the rest of Captain America's mask, or the strap to keep his mask on, and that is his ear. Once you've done that on one side, you then want to come all the way over to the other side and do the same thing, and this time it's easy because you can just look directly forward at what you did on that opposite side, and you can just copy it over. There's no need for any description here, you just look directly forward and copy it over. That's going to be much easier than trying to listen to instructions anyway, and you can see that that's already done. That's a really fast way to do it, and once you've done that, you can then just fill the rest of the head in with cyan wool. So obviously we want the head to be a nice big giant square shape, a nice big giant cube shape, so we're just going to fill the rest of this in with cyan wool. And once this has been filled in with cyan wool, we have just 2 arms left to do, and we also of course have his shield, but believe it or not, the shield is really easy to do, and one of his arms is actually quite easy to do as well, but one of his arms is in slightly, you know what, really? Honestly, both of the arms are quite easy. I don't know why I'm talking them up. I don't know why I'm trying to say that they're difficult when they're not, because they're really not. They're actually quite simple to do. The difficult part of this statue is definitely behind us, so we'll just have to destroy that extra cyan wool, and that is what you want to have for Captain America so far. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So come all the way to the top left hand side of Captain America's torso, and you want to take this top front right hand corner of the torso, so where we have this dark blue wall right here, and we want to go left of this by 1 with the brown stained clay, then 2 cyan wool, 1 dark blue. And underneath this row that we formed here, we actually want to do this row 2 more times. So that'll be 1, 2, this will be 1 and 2, and this will be 1 and 2. We then, underneath this row again, going from left to right, want to do 1 cyan wool, we then want to do 2 dark blue, and then we want to do another brown stained clay. And then we want to, underneath this row, we want to do a row of dark blue wool. Then we actually need another color. We need to get rid of light blue, and we need to grab ourselves some light grey wool. And we want to do 2 rows of light grey, that'll be 1 and 2. And then a row of cyan wool. So we want to have this. We then want to take the bottom row here of cyan wool, and we want to extend it coming towards us by 1 row with the black stained clay. We then want to take each end of that row and extend it up by 1, 2, 3 with the black stained clay, 1, 2, 3, connect it together at the top. We then want to do 3 rows of a brown stained clay coming towards us from this square, so that'll be 1 layer of brown stained clay, then this will be 2 layers of brown stained clay, and this will be 3 layers of brown stained clay, and remember to fill in the end as well. And what you also want to do, can you see where we have this brown stained clay here? Knock this out, the one behind it, and then the one to the left of that, and replace all of these with black stained clay. And that's kind of just like an indentation in Captain America's hand. Once you've got that taken care of, you can now take care of the rest of the arm here. So the rest of the arm is quite easy. So for the back of the arm, we actually want to have the exact same thing for the front of the arm. So can you see on the back here, you want to basically, on the back of the statue, make the exact same thing for the back of the arm as you have on the front. So it's quite simple to do. You just look directly forward and you just copy exactly what you did on the front onto the back. It's very simple. You can see that I'm doing it now. So we now have the same thing on both the front and the back. And then we connect the under part of the arm together with cyan wool. And then we connect the side of the arm together with light grey wool for the first 2 rows. Then dark blue wool, cyan, then 3 rows of dark blue, and then we fill the top of the shoulder in with 2 rows of cyan, 1 row of brown stained clay. That's very easy to do because you might be able to see here that you're just matching the colours that you have on the front and the back of the statue, and you're just matching them together in the 2 empty rows. So it's very easy to figure out what goes where. Once you've got that arm taken care of, we can now move on to the opposite arm. So the opposite arm is also very simple. So come all the way over to the opposite side of the statue. And this time, starting from the top back right hand corner of the torso, so this block right here, we want to go right of this block by 1 with the brown stained clay, then 2 cyan, then 1 dark blue, and then extending this row like towards out in front of the statue, we want to add 2 additional layers of this row, so that'll be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then for the next row, going from left to right, 1 brown stained clay, 2 dark blue, 1 cyan, For the next row, 1 dark blue, 2 red wool, 1 dark blue. For the next 2 rows, do 1 light grey, 2 white wool, 1 light grey. And remember, that's for 2 rows, so once you've done that once, do the same thing in front of it. Then for the next row, do a row of cyan wool. Then do 1 black stained clay, 2 dark blue, 1 black stained clay. Then do an entire row of brown stained clay. Then for the next row, 1 brown stained clay, 2 black stained clay, 1 brown stained clay. Then for the next row, do 1 brown, 1 black, 2 brown stained clay, and you should end up with something that should look a little bit like this, and that is what you want to have for the top part of the arm. But not only do we want this for the top of the arm, we also want it for the bottom of the arm. So to do this, we want to take this very end row of the arm, extend it down by 3 rows with the brown stained clay. That's 1, this will be 2, and this will be 3 rows of brown stained clay. And then we want to have whatever we have on the top of the arm, we also want to have for the bottom of the arm as well. So you can see where you have black stained clay, you want to place black stained clay, where you have cyan wool, you want to place cyan wool. We're just building up those exact same rows that we've just done one time before, except this time it's a lot easier because those rows are of course just a couple of rows away from our face, so we can just look at what we've done and we can copy it instead of having to have any instructions. So that's exactly what I'm doing for myself. I'm just looking directly upwards and I'm just copying what I did for the top of the arm. And once this arm's done, or once the bottom of the arm's done, the top of the arm's, the sides of the arm is going to be quite easy. So we now just want to connect every single color that we have on the top and the bottom part of the arm together. So can you see there where we have like brown stained clay, where we have cyan, where we have dark blue? We want to connect each one of those individual colors together. And the same goes for the side of the arm as well. So on the side of the arm where you have dark blue, you want to connect dark blue. Where you have cyan, you want to connect cyan. Same thing for the light blue, same thing for the black stained clay, same thing for every single color. That's all you want to do. It's very, very simple. You can see for yourself that it takes no effort whatsoever in figuring out which colors go where. And once we do have the sides of the arm taken care of, we can move on to the final part of this statue, which is going to be Captain America's shield. So that is Captain America's second arm. He kind of looks like he's doing Kung Fu, actually, in this pose without his shield, but it actually kind of looks cool without the shield anyway. Once you've got that taken care of, let's give him his shield, because he's obviously missing it. So in front of this hand that we have right here, we want to, starting from the top left-hand corner of the hand, going from left to right, do this sequence of blocks. Do 1 cyan wool, then 2 white, then 1 cyan. For the next row under this, do an entire row of white. For the next row under that, do 1 cyan, 2 white wool, 1 cyan. Then for the next row under that, do 1 white wool, 2 cyan, 1 white wool. That's perfect. That's what you want to have. What you can now do is you can do a row of dark blue wool going all the way around, except that it doesn't connect to the corners of the square shape that you've made. So that's kind of like the star emblem in the center of the shield. Once you've got that taken care of, you then want to do a layer of red wool going all the way around the outside of that. So once again, not connecting at the corners because we don't want it to be a big giant square shape. We want to have what is essentially Captain America's, we want to have a border of red going around Captain America's emblem. We then want to do a layer of white going around that layer of red. So just add a layer of white going all the way around the layer of red. Once again, not connecting. So we can just add all of this on the top as well, on the corner and on the sides. And for a final layer, so this is as big as the shield's going to get, we want to add just 1 layer of red. Now, if you want to, you can make the shield even bigger. If you want to make the shield bigger, you definitely can. You just keep adding layers of like white and red, and you obviously end on a red, or you could add another layer of red on the outer part of this. But eventually it does start looking like a really, really weird looking shield. So this is about as weird as I want it to look, and just to make it look a bit more 3D, what I then did is I took the second to outer layer of red, I extended this out by 1 row, so out in front of the statue, and then I extended everything inside of this out of the front of the statue by 1 row as well. So you get his emblem popping out the shield so you can see it a little bit better, and you do get the circular pop, because of course the shield isn't completely flat, it's kind of like a dome sort of shape. And there you go, that's what his shield looks like, and that's what Captain America looks like once he's 100% completely done. This is one of the hardest statues that I've had to make in recent times, just because of how he is posed, and I hope that you guys really appreciate him, because I do, I definitely do. He's a very, very cool looking statue, and out of him and Iron Man, which is over there, I would definitely say that Captain America is the better made statue. So hopefully you guys really do enjoy this. Hopefully you've managed to make it. If you've done both of those things, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, a favourite, a share, anything you'd feel like doing to help me out. Honestly, it really does tremendously help me out. A lot of you guys requested, since I decided to make Batman vs Superman statues, that I obviously had to make Captain America vs Iron Man statues. It only made sense, didn't it? So I've went out and I've done that for you. Please, like, favourite, share if you wouldn't mind. Comment down below if you want. Let me know what other statues you might want me to make from the film. I've been thinking heavily about making some sort of Spider-Man themed house, but I'm not sure how I'm going to pull that off exactly. It might not even be a house, it might just be like an alternate Spider-Man statue. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to check out some of the other things that I do on this channel, there's a barn in the background, there's a mini Steve riding a baby pig, there's a mushroom house, there's castles, there's gumball machine houses, there's all sorts of crazy stuff on this channel. Check out the card system. The only thing that I'm going to be leaving in there is the link to the Iron Man statue. I'll probably also leave that in the description below. And you know what? I might be nice. I might also leave you a link to my Superman and Batman statues as well. So thank you very much for watching. Like, favourite, share if you wouldn't mind. Comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the card system. And I'll see you guys in the next video.